We're back for part 2 of this video. We can't go any further without thanking you for your support on the first one. Thomas agrees.
Yeah, we were really impressed with all the love we got and how many questions. Honestly, like maybe Mare expected this many questions because she's on the YouTube, but you know, I'm still on VHS, you know. So I was very surprised. This could be a very long video. I don't know. We get a lot of questions to answer here. Hopefully, we can be crisp and concise. I'm pretty nervous because this is actually, while I know we're doing something good, it's been very difficult for me to process. It's given me a lot of anxiety doing this, so, and doing it again right now. So let's just start.
Okay, so thank you so much for your love and support and your kindness and your kind words, and hopefully you will find this video just as helpful. First question, we're not using any names, and we sort of lumped some together because there was the same question repeatedly in some cases. So I'd be interested in hearing regarding the positive and negative impact this has had on your relationship, not only as a couple, but as a family. I'm proud to say that it totally has not affected Thomas. Like, even in our darkest days, I don't think he had any idea what was going on.
No, because we still stuck with, like, you know, he's got a zillion appointments that we got to take him to. We still took him to everything and,
yeah,
you know, did exercises with him. He's still doing very well, so I don't think it had any effect on T-Bone. But for us, like, it was difficult for the two of us because, you know, we were both struggling more so than other, you know, it sort of would go back and forth, but, you know, like when I was at my worst, which was very bad, you know, it's not like Mare was in tip-top shape, but she had to pick up a lot of the slack, so that was, I could see it wearing on her, but it was just, at points I was in places where I physically couldn't do anything. I was just sort of frozen and couldn't help. And
then a positive would be, we have seen how much we can weather together and never turned on one another once. Like, we didn't think things could get worse, and they did, and right? We're still together. we got each other's back. We definitely know that. So that's a positive for sure.
Yeah, Mare's one of the good ones, apparently.
Apparently.
Yeah. I just mean I've learned that, you know.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Well, I guess I knew that already, but.
And for me, a positive was that. Seeing Jer fight so hard to get better and to be better. It would have been different if he just laid on the couch and laid in bed all day and wasn't trying so many things to try and work towards feeling better. That would have made things a lot worse. We probably wouldn't be sitting here doing this video. Okay, next question. What new routine have you two started since January that's made the biggest impact in your life? For me, a few things. I started saying no a lot more, which I think I've talked about in a video. And I've really been working to simplify my life. So not feeling pressure to do everything, be everything to everyone, and make every single social engagement. And while that was really difficult, it's been incredible. I actually have downtime now, and I'm not so resentful towards being so busy. I also started doing yoga, which has helped me a lot. I'm going back to 30-minute HIIT, which is awesome. Nothing like punching and kicking your stress away. Being more open about what's going on. Like, even my closest friends didn't know what was happening a lot of the time. So that's helped me. And I also limit my social media time in that I love to interact with you. But I'm not someone who's like scrolling through Facebook all the time because I found it would really bring me down comparing myself to other moms or other women or other just working women. So comparing myself has helped a lot, and just realize that like whatever you see on social media, no one's posting their worst days. So you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. Those are a few things that have helped me.
Yoga for me as well has been huge. It was something that I didn't know anything about before I started it. Like when I called them, I was like, do you have like a kids class or something like that I could join? Because I really didn't know anything. But it has helped me mentally and physically. Like, it's great to clear my mind, but it's also helped me physically, because I wasn't just dealing with mental illness. I was having all these physical problems, which we'll get into in a little bit, because I know that's part of another question. But my aches and pains have been going away, and my head has been better, and you know, going to my counselor has been huge, and our therapist. If we didn't have either of them, we wouldn't have gotten to where we are. I think not drinking alcohol has helped, because I couldn't at first because of my medication, and then I just kind of, I don't know, I was nervous about mixing pills and booze, I guess. So I haven't had a drink since January, and I don't know if I will. I'm sure at some point, but I don't know. I think that has helped. Eating better as well, being social. Like, I sort of forced myself out with other people, sort of just like, hey, I'm gonna come hang out with you, almost, just because I knew I needed to get out and do things. And also, I think it's very important, you need to have a hobby, because, you know, you need to take your mind off things sometimes. You need something that'll calm your mind. I mean, yoga, I guess, would qualify for that, but for me, it's been my hockey card collection, which I had before, but I got much more into since we've been dealing with all this, because it's just something that it calms my mind. So that has been a big one for me. I think you need something that you really enjoy, that, you know, can take your mind off things, and something that doesn't require a lot of work. I can just go downstairs and sort through some of them and just do my thing.
Okay, we had some questions about panic attacks or anxiety attacks, and a couple of suggestions on what to do when you feel one coming on.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of different options, but the two that I've been doing that were things that my counselor showed me were one that I just call 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, because you sort of, it's to distract your mind and get you off of what you're worrying about. So basically, it's see, fear, and heal. So you see 5 things, you feel 5 things, and you hear 5 things, and then you go back and then you do see 4, hear 4, feel 4. Like, so what I mean is, like, right now, I'll just do 1 so it doesn't take that long. But it's like, right now I see the video camera, I can hear Thomas, and I can feel the carpet on my legs. And you just kind of go through that, and it actually works quite well. It seems maybe kind of silly, but it's worked really well for me. And also a lot of deep breathing, and an exercise where you do, again, it's counting is involved from 10 down to 1, but you do 10 deep breaths, like in your nose, out your mouth, and then 9 deep breaths, 8, so on and so forth. So it takes a little while, but by the end of that, I'm normally chilled out, or at least it's taken down a few notches.
And I think both of us doing yoga helps with the breathing, because I find myself, if I start to get panicked or anxious, I do the yoga breathing, and it really helps calm me down. Do you have any suggestion on like how to prevent it?
Yes,
Something you do?
I have a cue card, which I forgot. Just hold on.
Okay. You can hear Thomas in the background. I'm sure many of you are waiting for him to take that M-pillow down, because you noticed in the last video, the last 2 videos actually, that he did that. I'm sure that's coming.
But some stuff that my counselor again told me that's been in like my workbook, and I wrote it onto a cue card, which I keep in my wallet, because I found that when I would start getting anxiety, I couldn't remember what I needed to do, and then I'd have to like go get my notebook and try and find it, read it, and that was way too much work. I needed it to be much more simple. So it just has stuff on it that says, like, just some things that I found resonated with me out of my workbook that I've been going through, like face the symptoms, don't fight them, sort of like, here it is again, I can get through this. Like, you can feel it coming. Like, that's what's helped now since I've been going to counseling, is before, anxiety would just happen, and I didn't even know I had anxiety, you know, until like a few months ago. I've been dealing with it, you know, since I was a kid, but I didn't even know what it was until recently, where now I can actually tell what it is, so I can feel it coming on. So it's like, oh, here it is again, I can get through this, you know, and just sort of accept what my body is doing, don't fight it, and, you know, breathe and do some of those exercises, or you know, sort of float the wave of anxiety rather than forcing my way through it. So you just again, it's just sort of like, here it is again. I can get through this. This isn't the worst thing that could happen. And just sort of allow a bit of time to pass. Like when it comes on, you can't just flick a switch and turn it off, but if you identify it right away, you can get rid of it in a few minutes, maybe, if you're lucky. So that's where that, like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 thing comes in, and the calming breath. And fighting and resisting isn't going to help, so I'll just let it pass. So it's just kind of to help, quick things to help remind me that, oh wait, I've done this before, and I'll get through it. Just chill out. It's going to be fine. But yeah, that counting one and the breathing one I find helps me a lot, though. So I just lay down on the couch and start counting.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
11, 12. Okay. Many people asked if you wouldn't mind talking about what meds you've tried and what finally worked for you. In the previous video, we just sort of alluded to the fact that you tried something that went horrifically and was awful, terrible. So
yeah, well, interestingly enough, the one that did not work for me, that made things even worse, was one that I know a lot of people have had success with, and that's Cipralex. That did not work for me. That made it worse for some reason.
very quickly.
Yeah, like, it was insane, and like, just, yeah, it was pretty nasty. But it's funny, it's one of those things where I was like the 1% or, the half of a percent that it happens to. Most people it works well for. But ever since then I've been on Paxil, and that's worked. That's worked good, and I've slowly taken slowly went up a dosage, and now I've been at the same for a while. And the other one that I use occasionally, it's not a daily thing, but if it's really bad, I have Ativan as well. If it's really nasty and I need a quick calm down, if those counting exercises or something don't work, once in a while, I don't use it very often, mainly because it puts me to sleep too. But if I'm having a rough time at night, I might take one because it'll put me to sleep. So I use that as well. But the Paxil is what I've been on, and it's worked good.
And it's a slow journey. That was something that lots of people told us. Like, finding the right med can take a few tries, and then finding the right dosage can take a while too. So it's not something that's instant, unfortunately. So don't be discouraged if that's what's happening to you, right? Like,
oh yeah, I should have said that, because and you get side effects. Like, unfortunately, there's going to be side effects. I had a lot. Like, at the beginning, I was getting terrible headaches and like these like weird pains in my jaw, and just
your eye twitch, remember?
Oh yeah, my eye was twitching for a while. Like, it was unfortunate, and or like right now I can't sleep, like, or not well. Like, wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning every day, but that's better than what I was dealing with before. But it took a few months. Like, I started taking meds at the end of January, and it really probably wasn't until May that I started feeling like myself. Like, for a while I was always saying, like, I remember what Jeremy is like, but I haven't felt that way in a long time, and now I, for the most part, feel like Jeremy again. So it takes a few months, and that wasn't like in my case. Like, the doctor told me this is going to take a while. It's not like you can just start taking this pill and tomorrow you're going to feel better. Like, for a while it didn't do anything, but he was like, no, you just gotta wait. Body's got to get used to it, and slowly it started getting better. And then all of a sudden it was just kind of like, you'd have one good day, and then you'd have 2 good days, and then all of a sudden it was like, hey, it's been like a week, and now for the most part I'm feeling good. Things still can throw me off, like this video, but like after we filmed the video last week, for a couple of days after, I was not in good shape at all. I had a lot of anxiety just about...
Like, once it went live.
Yeah.
That was...
Well, even after we filmed it, but yeah, once it went live, I was really freaking out.
Even though so many of you were nice and we were getting great texts and emails and stuff, it just...
This isn't something I do, this YouTube stuff, and social media. So I really jumped into the deep end. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to start a YouTube channel about my hockey cards.
Like, no, we're going to talk about anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
So lots of people also asked about physical symptoms you had, and that was something that was really interesting to the two of us, because stress can manifest itself physically in ways that you don't recognize are related to stress, and that totally happened with Jer.
Yeah. Well, it started with just random stuff that I didn't know what was going on, but it was all just tied to stress and anxiety, like I'm sure most of you have found before when you get really stressed out. you know, weird things start to happen. But like for me back in the fall, all these things started to go wrong with me. Like I thought I basically had carpal tunnel syndrome, where it's like every time I was working, you know, my wrist, and it would go like all up my arm, and that was awful. And then like my legs were going numb, and you know, my neck hurt all the time, or like I woke up one morning, I couldn't move my neck, and things like that. And it was all just tied to stress and anxiety. And once I started, like that's some of the stuff that I was alluding at earlier, like when I started doing yoga, because my doctor was the one who told me to do yoga, because for the mental aspect, but also physical, like all the stretching should help with, you know, legs and the carpal tunnel and neck. And hey, you know what? It worked. So they're not perfect, but it's way better than it was. So yoga definitely helped with those things. But as far as like symptoms of anxiety, I don't think it's the same for everybody. A lot of them are common, I guess. But like for me, like I can tell when it's happening now. Like my heart will be racing. I'll, you know, be sweating, sort of shaking. Not really like shaking violently, but I can just sort of feel this like light shake through my body. Like you can kind of have a bit right now. My fingers are twitching a little bit. Like I can just sort of feel it. and lack of focus. Like if I'm having anxiety, I can't do anything. Like it's just,
you're frozen.
Yeah, just kind of frozen mentally and even physically sometimes.
Yeah.
Like when it was really bad, it was like I can't get out of bed, or like I'm stuck in this chair. This chair is the only place I can be right now.
Yeah. Okay, so another question was, how has counseling helped you both? Did you find that either of you was reluctant to go, and has it affected your work? Hasn't affected work. It's probably improved us at work. Neither of us were reluctant to go. How has it helped us? Infinitely. She's given us coping methods. Also, it was just really nice to have a new unbiased opinion and an educated opinion, and someone who like is a straight shooter and would kind of give us some tough love. Like there was definitely things that we would complain to her about, and she would be like, you need to get over this, or everyone deals with this, you know, stuff that it was really good to hear. Or, you know, she would give us homework and it was really hard and it was something that we had to do, and then now that we've done it, you know, we're so grateful that we had to do it. We got asked how we managed to maintain a healthy relationship quite a bit.
Make time for each other. Obviously that's an easy one to fall by the wayside when you're going through difficult stuff. So you just really have to make time for one another. And, you know, I mean, dates are one thing, but then also just even simple stuff, even just time together at home, like after Thomas goes to bed. And
it's always been a priority in our... Hi, bud. Hello. Oh, hi. Hello. It's always been a priority in our relationship to have dinner together. So that's something that we still do, is like Thomas and I wait, we have dinner as a family. It only takes like 15-20 minutes, but I think it's really important.
Talking honestly,
yeah,
too, like not hiding what's going on. Whereas before I used to hide stuff from Mare as far as my anxiety. Part of it was because I didn't know what was going on. So I would just not say anything or whatever. Or like, for example, like, to be totally honest, like I mentioned in the last video, like being suicidal, and that was, I had never even said that word to anybody until we started going to our therapist. So that was something she had no idea about, but I'd been dealing with it off and on for years and just didn't know what to do. Whereas now, I haven't felt that way in a few months, but like, I would actually say to her like how I was feeling. So that's a good one. And then also, to be honest, sexy time.
Yeah, like make your relationship a priority, whether it's sitting and watching Netflix together or whether it's, you know, having a healthy sex life. Like that's a really important part of a relationship, right?
Absolutely. And as I use as a line to try and convince you sometimes, it's good for what ails you.
It is good for what ails you.
It is.
Okay, before we give too much TMI information, which I'm sure some would be interested in. From a man's perspective, do you think it was harder to go and get help?
It wasn't for me, but I'm sure for some guys it is. I guess just that old stigma. I guess go to the asking for directions or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys won't ask for directions when they're driving. I'm sure many guys wouldn't want to go see a counselor or whatever, admit that anything is wrong. But
that wasn't.
I mean, I guess I was reluctant for a while. I mean, I didn't know what was going on, and it wasn't that bad. But once it got really bad, I realized that I had to do something.
Well, and then it also said, what were some of the most helpful things Mare did? What were some of the most helpful things?
Oh, I missed that part when I was doing my pre-interview notes.
What were the most helpful and supportive things I've done to support you? What are they, Jay?
Oh, now you put me on the spot. Everything else I had written out. I mean, she's always been a great listener, and you know, it's somebody I've always been able to be honest with. But she also just picked up the slack, I guess, would be the biggest thing that she did. Even though she was going through a tough time as well when I was at my worst. You know, I couldn't physically do things. I was just, you know, incapacitated. I was off, because like I was off work for a couple of weeks when it was really bad. So, and in that time and even afterwards, I just wasn't able to do that much. So she had to pick up a lot of the slack as far as, you know, just stuff about dealing with Thomas but even
the house.
Yeah, just household chores.
Yeah.
Too, you know.
And I would say, like, for the most part, I tried to. I'm human. Of course, it got to me, but I never, like, got angry with him or told him to just, like, be a man and snap out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say I was as patient as could be.
Yeah. Well, actually, and one thing sort of to go along with that, I guess, as an example, I guess we didn't really talk about what would give me anxiety, but I guess that doesn't really matter that much, does it? But I'll just use one example, like stuff around the house, like noises in the house. Were driving me crazy, just like running water or just noises. I needed to know what everything was, and if I couldn't figure it out, that would like drive me just nuts. And so, for example, like when I was in a really tough spot, I couldn't do laundry, I couldn't run the dishwasher, I couldn't even do dishes or like give Thomas a bath. Like to hear running water was just like, would drive me crazy. Like I had to leave the house. So all that stuff like Mare had to do, I wasn't capable of doing it. Like flushing the toilet was a big deal, you know, like that was just kind of like, oh my God, you know? So all sorts of things like that, I just was not capable of doing for a while. So there were just things that Mare had to do because they had to get done.
Did either of you harbor any resentment towards each other for anything you were or weren't doing? Like carrying more on your shoulders than the other person? Like, honestly, of course, because you're human, like I said. Like, I did everything for a long time, and I knew Jerry wasn't just being lazy. Like, I knew it was, like, a specific medical problem, but I'm human, you know? But I tried my hardest to just go about it. I don't harbor any resentment now. He does a lot around the house and is super helpful and there for me. Hell, I'm going to New York for a week. Like, this guy right here. But, you know, you just deal with it. You just try and be in the moment and remember what's happening and not make it out to be this huge, dramatic thing. We knew we would get through it.
Yeah, but obviously it was difficult at times, especially then, you know, had to go in for gallbladder surgery in the middle of all this.
Oh yeah, that I mentioned in one of my videos.
Oh, did you? Okay,
that was great.
Yeah, that's been a lot. I didn't even bring that up. Yeah, I had to go in for surgery and I was off work again.
And I was off work too because Jeremy couldn't even touch Thomas.
Yeah,
like,
but anyway, so that was just another one. So I'm sure Mare was getting a little sick of me for a while there, but even I would get, you know, annoyed with her sometimes. You know, you maybe take something out on somebody who doesn't deserve it just because you don't know what to do. So there were definitely times where I would get a little upset. Like she didn't have an answer for me, not like she could have, like, but just you'd get in a spot where it was like, I would just hope she had some magic wand that she could wave, and she didn't have the magic wand. So then I would get annoyed with her. So, but yeah, nobody's perfect. It's tough. when you're dealing with some of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I ask you why you were depressed and had anxiety? Like, how did it happen? That someone asked. And like you've said, now you realize in hindsight you've had it forever.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, like stressful situations can throw it off. Like I can remember like a couple of big ones that I remember from in the past were all like, oh, I'm really stressed out. But now when I look back on it, I realize, I was having a lot of anxiety. It was like, I remember in college that happening a lot just because, all the stuff you're trying to figure your life out, all your exams, you're not sleeping enough, blah, 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 all that stuff. And then I also remember the year, because we bought our house and got married in the same year.
Don't recommend.
Don't do that. It's a terrible idea. So, we're trying to figure out how to buy our first house and plan a wedding at the same time, which was a terrible idea.
I mean, we did it, but we didn't recommend it.
Yeah, so I had a lot of anxiety then,
Yeah.
but again, at the time I was just, I'm really stressed. But looking back, I realized that was anxiety. So stressful situations for sure. All the stuff we were dealing with Thomas is pretty obvious. I mean,
self-explanatory.
He was deaf already. We had so much to deal with, and we find out, by the way, he's got autism as well. So.
And then I think what happened to both of us in the fall was like he finally started going to an incredible center and getting help, and he finally was making positive gains and improvements, and that somehow we both felt like subconsciously we could fall apart a little bit. We were so strong for so long that since he was doing well and we had so much help, in hindsight, I think that's what happened.
Well, yeah, and our doctor even said, like, that's totally normal, because for 3.5 years, we basically felt like we can't get sick. Mm-hmm. We can't have anything wrong, because there's so much wrong.
We can't break down.
Yeah, we've got so much wrong with Thomas, and then finally in the fall, we stopped getting bad news about Thomas for a while, so it was finally time for us to come unraveled, because now we could, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The next question is, I think it might be interesting to hear the difference between handling things as a couple and not losing your individuality, and what's helped you individually.
I'm nervous. That's why I'm looking at the floor.
You're doing good.
Well, you need a hobby, basically. That's what I told people, is you need distractions, but like positive distractions,
Mm-hmm. Healthy ones. Like for me,
yeah.
Frasier, Netflix, YouTube.
Yeah, or music, whatever. Something that makes you happy and takes your mind off of it. It's
not like I get hammered every weekend. Like something positive.
Yeah. It's got to be a healthy distraction.
Or like for me, something is I've really become quite interested in making healthy meals for our family. And like juicing. Trying to make us feel better. And that's one thing that we noticed that maybe we should have mentioned in a different question, but whatever. We really changed our eating habits because we wanted to feel better, like physically, and I think that's helped a lot.
Yeah, that's helped me a lot too, because with my my gallbladder, like I had gallstones, and that's why they had to take it out. And because of that, I was having a lot of stomach pain, so then I was getting anxiety over eating. So
yeah,
it was, but I still get it, the anxiety about it, but if I'm eating healthy, then I feel fine because I know it's not going to do anything. But like, if I, eat something that I probably shouldn't, then I get anxiety because my stomach starts to feel weird and I'm like, oh no, is it my gallbladder again? Oh wait, I don't have one.
And for me, like a lot of my stress and anxiety, resonates like physically, like my stomach hurts. So I find if I'm eating better, that maybe doesn't come into play quite as much. This is a big question we got. If you're someone who isn't going through anxiety or depression, but you know someone who is, how do you help them? And Jared and I didn't ask for help for a really long time, like over 3 years. 3.5 years probably, and that was one thing our counselor basically smacked us across the face. It was like, you need to ask for help. People want to help you, and it's true. People did want to help us. We just didn't want to be a burden. You're not a burden. They want to help you, but they don't know what to do. And so I would say offer specific help. Like when Jared had his gallbladder surgery, one of my girlfriends came and spent the day with me in the hospital and brought her fridge to our bedroom. Another friend brought meals. Another friend did groceries for us. Like specific things, because when you are going through something terrible, you like, as nice as it is for someone to offer help, you almost don't even have the brain power to think of something they can do.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, basically, it's like if you've got a lot of anxiety or you're depressed or whatever, if somebody asks you, what can I do? That question is another chore. Like, I got enough on my mind. It's a simple question, but when you're having a tough time, every question is difficult. So, you just have to kind of do something. It's way easier. Because of course I need help, but I don't know what I need help for. I don't know what you can do. Just do something, Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just specific things. Just offer, or just do it. Don't wait around to be asked, and don't ask a million questions. Just see, like with us, would be like, watch Thomas for an afternoon. Or like my mom would come over and clean our house. Like there was no way I was cleaning our house. But to have a clean house makes us both feel more relaxed.
Yeah, like it can be just simple things like that,
Yeah.
Do somebody's laundry or
Totally.
whatever. Of course there's laundry to be done, but I'm probably not going to ask you, hey, can you come over and do my laundry?
No. And I'm not going to ask you to clean my house or do my groceries for me. And if you don't live near someone, like another good thing, Emily would just, like, magically dinner would arrive. She'd be like, oh, I'm buying you Boston pizza tonight. That kind of thing.
Yeah, and also, I think we should mention this to go along with this question. The person, they have to be willing to accept help, which, like, we didn't really have to go through. I didn't fight it, and Mare didn't fight it. Like, we were ready to do it, but if somebody is not ready for help, you're going to have a hard time. So we can't really help you when it comes to that, but I just thought we should bring that up, because I'm sure some of you want to help somebody, but they're not ready for help. They just want to wallow or, and get, have people pity them or whatever. So. And
then that's not your job, really. Like they have to want it, and they have to take some ownership, like Jared did. So this next question goes along with it. How do you ask someone who appears to be struggling with mental health if they're okay and what's going on, without it just being the like, hey, how's it going? And that's something that you have noticed too, and I've noticed too. It's like people say like, well, I asked how you were. Yeah, but to like in passing be like, hey, how's it going? No one's gonna be like, actually, Jeremy's suicidal and I had to leave work early yesterday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just a greeting. It's like hello. Like when you're at work or something and you get people like, hey, how's it going? Well, I'm not going to tell you what is wrong because you don't want to know.
No. Like,
you're just saying, how's it going in a
hello.
Hello. It's just a greeting. So, and that's fine. I mean, we do that with plenty of people. It's just a social greeting. But if you actually want to know, be genuine and specific. Just actually like, say like, no, like seriously, like, how are you doing? I know you've been struggling or whatever. So,
or like, I can tell you're struggling.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always here to listen.
Yeah.
Living in a small, tight-knit community, how do you cope with people talking? How are you able to hold your head high? And more than that, how are you able to speak about everything openly? Where does your courage come from? We have a very simple answer for this one.
We don't give a fuck.
That's it. If you're talking about us, you're gossiping, we're not here for that. You're not a part of our life. That's how we do it. To be like totally honest, like when you've been through stuff or you're going through stuff and maybe you're watching this and you are, there is so much bullshit that you don't even have to concern yourself with. Those who love you and are there for you, that's it. The rest is just white noise.
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah, they are.
And
you just gotta shake it off.
And yeah, it's funny how your perspective changes when you go through some of this stuff. Like things that used to bother me, again, I just don't give an F about.
You can't.
Anymore.
There's too much else going on.
Yeah, I only have so many F's to give.
And that is not one of them.
and it has to go to the big things, you know? Like say like a few years ago, like in the pre-Thomas era, there was lots of things at work that would have bothered me. Little things now that I laugh at, but like, how did I ever let that get to me? Because now I don't have the energy to care about that anymore.
Or like stuff with girlfriends that I would like just come home and like complain to Jer about. You never hear about it. Or it's like a one minute conversation. I'm like, move on.
So are you still with us? We're entering hour 4 of our video.
It stopped recording twice because my camera only records in 20-minute segments. Good times. We're almost done.
Courage.
Oh yeah. How do you find your courage? Well,
I mean,
we're nervous to make this video.
Yeah, we want to help other people, and just, we know we have a platform to do it, because we've talked about it on the radio, and like stuff with...
Whoa!
Yeah.
You found Mummy's wallet. Okay.
Yeah, and like we've done that for stuff with Thomas before too, just because we know we have a platform, and Mare especially, with YouTube, because there's, you know, so many subscribers there, so we just decided that even, it would have been easy not to do anything, because this is crazy, but we just decided that we have a platform to help some people out, so we're going to do the best we can. And I mean, I know I was inspired with Let's Talk Day with our company Bell. It's a big thing every year, every January, that they do to raise awareness about mental illness, and it just sort of coincided with my mental illness getting out of control this year, and I was really inspired.
Also, something that you have found, and I have found, doing nice things for people makes us feel good too. Right?
That's true, yeah. I have been definitely trying to, I guess you could say, I guess it's karma related.
Yeah, totally.
You know, just trying to do nice things for others and hope that some good things will come my way, just random things, you know, just if I'm going out to get a coffee while I'm at work, I'll just buy some other people coffee as well.
Where do you draw the line as far as irrational behavior is concerned? You talked about calling a plumber to reassure you that nothing was wrong. Mare, was there a time you thought you should step in and put a stop to this behavior? Would it be different, for instance, if Jeremy started knocking down the walls in your house looking for water? Okay. Yeah.
I was thinking about knocking down walls.
Yeah. Like, then, but you know what? To be honest, I encouraged the plumber coming because I really thought it would help. Like, I was like, let's just do something so that maybe it'll ease your mind. It didn't really help that much. But that was the point where I really started pushing for counseling.
Yes, because
we hadn't gone yet.
I shouldn't be spending hours with, you know, listening to the walls and sticking my head up in the ceiling and, you know, shining flashlights all over the house trying to find a leak that doesn't exist. So that definitely brought it to a head, for sure. The last question, thank you for sticking with us. This has been by far the longest video of Redhead Mare life. How do you feel about taking medicine and what it'll be like when you decide to taper off? Well, I was definitely scared at first because, to be honest with you, this is the first time I've had a regular prescription.
Period.
Yeah, I've been pretty fortunate.
Like, not an antibiotic or anything.
Yeah, the only time I've ever had to take anything was just like, oh, take this for a week and, you know, your STD will go away.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I've just like little things like that. I've never been on a prescription. So obviously I was a little nervous, like, well, what's this going to do? What about the side effects? And it was interesting too because my doctor was like, well, you know what? With patients with anxiety, I generally don't tell them about the side effects because then they're just going to worry more about the side effects and think that they have all the side effects. And I was like, good call, doc. I forgot about that. I got the list of side effects. Yeah. And I wasn't showing it to Jeremy. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So I think I got off track there a little bit. But how'd you feel about taking it? Yeah. So I was ready to take it. I knew I needed to. But I was very nervous just because I had never taken medication, but I knew I needed to do it. And it was really tricky after the first experience with that Cipralex because it didn't work and, you know, it made me even worse. So obviously I was pretty nervous to try another one because of what happened the first time. But again, you know, I knew it needed to happen. And as far as what it'll be like to get off of it, you know what? I'll cross that bridge when it comes, because who the hell knows how long I'll be on this. So there's no point in me worrying about that now.
That's all your questions. Thank you to everyone who submitted them. Thanks to you for watching this.
Is there anybody left?
Hi. We should like tell them a big secret at the end.
Yeah.
You made it this far. You get to know that
I'm now on Instagram.
Semi_pro_set.
If you like hockey cards.
That's your treat for making it through this ridiculously long video. But we decided to just go with it because it was important to us and it was obviously important to you. So thank you to you for watching the first one, for giving us love, and know that you're not alone. So many of you courageously shared your stories with us, and it made us realize that this is a really prevalent thing. So we hope that it has helped you. It's helped us. How do you want to end this video?
Fraser Crane?
As Dr. Fraser Crane would say, I'm wishing you a good day and good mental health.